Hello, everybody. I figured that instead of writing a long community post that I know a lot of people will be like, Emma, I am not sitting down here and reading that, I would come on and do a short video to kind of say what I needed to say and then post it, and hopefully it reaches the people it needs to reach. But yes, so I hope everybody, first and foremostly, had a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody has a wonderful week going forward. It's definitely down to the crunch time with the holidays. I know that can be a really stressful week for people. So I hope that everybody stays positive and has a good week. Yeah. So as some of you may or may not have noticed, I did a lot of thinking today, and I've just I've just been panicking because I'm in a tight spot financially, and I rarely, very rarely, come to YouTube to talk about my issues because first of all, I don't, I don't feel comfortable, sharing what I'm dealing with because here's how I look at it. In this world, there is so much need, and not just in the world, but like, in this community, there's a lot of people in need, and what makes my need greater than anybody else's, because I, I guess I just don't feel worthy, Um, but I tried because this is how I am, if there's one word that describes me, it's tenacious. So I tried in my head to figure out every possible way that I could rearrange like any sort of and he has so I wanted to explain a little bit more about chicory because it was brought to my attention that there are people that are already using this as something to speculate. So that's okay though. I mean, I'm really happy that you're doing that because then perhaps you could educate yourself on cats and the diseases and stuff that they can have, because I want to make it clear that maybe I should have added that chicory has some other health issues as well, but I assure you, maybe in the description I will post a link to Cornell University, and that's a very prestigious university, by the way. Their page about asthma in cats. It is quite rare. It's very rare. But chicory has been diagnosed officially by our vet, and it is hard to diagnose, but based on his symptoms and how these attacks occur, he also had x-rays of his chest and some other tests run, and they've concluded officially that he has asthma. So yes, he is unfortunately part of the 1 to 5%. I think that's what I read. Um, someone has to be. I mean, I know that sounds terrible to say it that way, but it's like, I, it's the same thing I say to loved ones who, I tell them to drive carefully in the snow, and they're like, "Oh, I will." I'm like, you probably shouldn't go out and drive today because it's really bad and it's icy and blah blah blah. And they're like, "Well, I'm not going to get into a crash." Well, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Hey, I'm going to get into a horrible accident today." Um, it's always I guess I'm always of the type to um worry about people I care about, but I think a lot of you can relate with that. But yeah, so I mean, Chicory has some health issues. He also has a heart murmur. His life expectancy is not as long as your typical cat, and it was pretty obvious that something was wrong pretty shortly. He's the runt of the litter, so he was teeny tiny. I need to post some of Chicory's baby pictures. Um, my only hesitation is, well, I think I could find some pictures without that person in it. Okay, I think I can, because the cutest pictures are usually ones I have of Chicky with somebody else that I don't really want to bring to YouTube. So um, I think I probably have some because camera phones weren't. I mean, they were a thing, obviously, and like I think it was like 2014, but they weren't. I didn't use it like I do now with like stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the point I was trying to make about you guys. You guys know what I'm trying to say. But like, um, so Chicory, it was pretty obvious something was wrong because when he would run, he would get out of breath really quickly, and he would start, it almost sounds like a bull snorting and or sneezing. And those are and he like his heart's beating out of his chest, and like I had to physically like calm him down. And as he got older, it seemed to just get worse. So even today, like he can't run across the room without getting out of breath and starting to wheeze. But and that's typical. But when it gets frequent and he also has when you know it's progressed to a respiratory infection is when it sounds like he's trying to hack up a hairball, but there's nothing coming out, and it was constant. It was bad. It was to the point where I was freaking out, thinking I was going to have to bring him to the ER because those things can get out of hand really quickly, really quickly. And I'm like trying to figure out how I could possibly do that because, like, at the time I had COVID, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm so overwhelmed and I'm tired. But I spoke with the emergency vet, and they said that it could wait till the morning because it was a Sunday. And I called my vet, and they got us in. And and with Chicory, I mean, it usually goes away pretty quickly. But in this instance, this time, it's just been it. He got the shot of steroids and an antibiotic and something else. I have to go look at the paperwork, and I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce it anyways. So he got that, and usually within the next few days, that usually clears up. That usually does the trick because we go to the vet, and that's always what it is. Like Chicory goes for his, yearly appointment, and then the rest of it's asthma related. And my other cat is older than him, but doesn't have any health issues. So I mean, Paolo just goes once a year, and my dogs have been pretty healthy, thank God. Because Molly was not a healthy puppy, let me tell you. She had Giardia like 3 times. I mean, oh my god, that poor dog. She um so yeah, that used to be but my point is with that though is that I used to be able to afford my animals. So I saw a post that somebody made, and it was saying that if you cannot afford your animals, you shouldn't have them. And well, to some extent, I can recognize that that's probably a good way to look at it before you adopt an animal, is to look at your budget and think to yourself, is this something I can do long term? Sometimes you can't always plan for what life throws at you. So where I was working went out of business and recently, and I lost my job. And I'm a full-time grad student because I wanted to go back to school, use that opportunity to go back to school. So you can't always prepare for when you have unexpected costs. Then there's other stuff that I've had to deal with in the past couple months that has been quite expensive. And then I got sick, and I had to cut down on the freelance work I was doing. And because when I got sick happens to be a time of year that's really important in marketing. And I dropped the ball because I was just so sick. Um, so I lost out on some of that money that I could make. And it's just kind of been a perfect storm. And then with Chicory, usually it's one vet visit does the trick. But unfortunately, this time it's been several because for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to be getting better. And, I went and I adopted all the animals that I have, and I have 5 animals. So you can imagine how expensive that is. It's horrifying. I'm a certified pet nutritionist by UC Davis, so I have a certification in pet nutrition for basically any pet that you can essentially every pet. It's in cats, dogs, reptiles, small animals, and birds. But the ones that I really specialize in is cats and dogs. So, I used to have my dogs on good quality food, and now I mean, good quality food is subjective, and that's a whole other rant that I could go into because I feel very strongly about certain things, and it's not what popular opinion is right now. So, or what's in style or trending or a fad. Um, and I will come back at you with science every single time. But it was actually against what company I worked for wanted us to do. But as much as people say that the vets offices are getting paid off by the big brands, I want you guys to understand that the boutique brands pay off small pet stores and pet stores that because they used to pay us. They used to come and solicit their items like a pharmaceutical company would do to doctors. They'd bring merch and cupcakes and stuff, and they'd make you do a whole training thing on how to sell their items. I'm not even kidding. A really great example of that is Primal Instinct. They're really bad with that. I mean, I some of the parts of their food is okay, but I wouldn't feed it. I'm not going to go into that because people are going to get it's actually a very hot topic. You'd be surprised how passionate people get about this. Um, so I used to have them, but I've had to, and there are good quality foods that are of a better price range. Don't get me wrong. You just have to know where to look, and you have to know what to look for. But I mean, and they're doing fine on it. So really, I'm just glad because I was set in my habits because Molly has a really sensitive stomach, so I was afraid to switch to anything else. But it's been fine, you know. And with my cats, it's hard. It's hard, and I have three of them, so it gets expensive. But at the time, I could pay for it. At the time, I had a job. At the time, I had the resources to care for my animals. And unfortunately, this past year, really 2 years, but especially this year, has just been horrid. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. I know I'm not alone, which is another reason why I'm always hesitant to put up a fund or whatever, because a lot of people are struggling. And again, why is my need greater than others? There are a lot of people that I can visibly see suffering, who can't do things that I can still do. Um, barely. But you guys know what I mean. Like they have a larger family than I do and they can't put food on the table or something like that. And I'm like, I feel bad. And last year in the community, I was able to help several people with Christmas gifts. And I'm glad that I was able to do that. And I feel terrible because there's a lot of worthy causes. I just can't do it this year. I just can't. I'm not going to go into like a whole sob story because they'll just drag it and make fun of it. But like, we don't even have a Christmas tree up. So, not because we're Jewish, but because there's not much to, there's a one big gift, and that's going to have to be how it is until, and that's okay. We're not materialistic anyway. So, I mean, that's not the point. If I hate bringing people onto here, I'm so careful about this because of how this community is. If there were, okay, how do I phrase it? If there were younger children, it would matter more to me. But I would prefer that, when I can help families with young kids where, Christmas is something that's really special and, they don't want to go to school, and wonder why Tommy got an expensive gift and why Santa didn't think they were worthy of getting an expensive gift because mom can't afford it, or dad can't afford it or whatever. It breaks my heart, honestly. And I a family member experienced that, and when they came back and told me, it was heartbreaking. No child should have to wonder why Santa doesn't bring them the gifts that they want or an expensive gift, um, or why another child is more worthy. Because I guess at a certain age you realize Santa's not real, but I mean, until then, um, that's not. That breaks my heart. I'm not here for it, but I just at the same time, I was thinking to myself today, and I'm like, I don't really ask for much on here. I don't really push any PayPals or anything like that. I've done one PayPal in the past for a worthy cause that I showed receipts for. The only other one I did before that was also for Chicory for dental work. That what happened is because I have ADHD, and for those of you who are familiar with ADHD, you know that like sometimes you forget to do things. You just over like it just I don't know how to explain how it happens. It just does. I guess for GoFundMe, you have to link a bank account within a certain amount of time, or they refund the money. And the reason I didn't touch the GoFundMe like at all, like even to put in a bank account, um, was because I started it in February and Chicory's surgery wasn't scheduled till May. And I wanted people to see that that money was still in there and that it's intended for only that. You know what I mean? So that was my bad, but everybody got refunded for that. So that doesn't count. And I'm very grateful to the people that donated to the one I had in August. And I think you all can also remember that I barely pushed that one. I barely talked about it because I felt bad then too. And that one was a little bit of a different situation because that was something that I needed to do for myself. And it wasn't like, how do I put this? Like, it was very helpful and it was something that I just needed to do. And it was kind of spur of the moment. I couldn't possibly have budgeted for that. I just couldn't have. So it was really helpful to get a couple $100 extra, to go towards my trip and be able to, use that towards making that happen. And I'm very grateful. I know a lot of those people don't like me, At this point, at now, I guess, I don't want to say at this point because nothing's changed except who I associate with. But I still appreciate them very much. I mean, you helped me. I posted the receipt, so I mean, I think it's pretty clear that people know that when I say I'm going to spend money on something, that's what I do. And I'm also not on here criticizing people's funds, or else there's something shady and there's something like excessive about it. You guys know what I'm talking about. But for people who put up a fund every now and then, I have no issue with that. None. Why not? I don't even care if it's for something particularly necessary. I mean, I'm not going to get bent out of shape about that. I'm not one of those people, but you know what I mean. So they can't really use that argument. However, it's been brought to my attention that there are people saying that he can't possibly have asthma, or that the by proxy. Well, my neighbor's cat has asthma, and all they had to do was this, and this, or my cat or whatever. But your cat isn't Chicory. You don't have Chicory. Chicory's my cat, and his health issues are his own. And it's not a one size fits all. There's probably a formula to it, but it has to be adjusted and tweaked to like fit the patient, just like healthcare with humans is. And I did post for advice on how to administer the prednisone. You could see clearly on there it's prescribed to Chicory. You could see the date on it, so it's not like it's an old photo. I'm not making that up. So, I mean, I know people just want something to speculate about, and they just want something to dig and talk about, and that's whatever. It's cool. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two about, feline asthma, and maybe you'll know what to look for in your own cats in case perhaps they're also unfortunately part of the 1 to 5%. And I just want to be clear that, I play it forward whenever I can. I bought Christmas gifts for 5 families last year, and including yours, Jessica. So, I try to help when I can. I'm a very giving person, but I just don't have it this year. And this year, I need help. So I'm so grateful to the people that have sent money so far. And I assure you, I will bring you with me to whatever anybody needs to know that their money went to exactly what I said it went to. I will give you. No questions asked. I mean, I understand, especially in this community, when there's been a lot of, some people that scam or some people that misrepresent what they're doing. I understand. I won't be offended if you ask for receipts. Like, I will not, get upset because I get it. It's hard to trust people. It's hard to believe what people say on here because the people in this community have been burned and taken advantage of for a very long time by specific, we've all talked about what that is going on in here, and just on, I guess, on YouTube in general, even in the communities that kind of are around here, So I understand if you're like, hey, Emma, I really would like to see X, Y, or Z. I'd be happy to provide it for you. So he has another appointment this week where they're going to do a follow-up and take a look at if it's working, if it's not, if we have to try something else, because, if it's not getting better. I do think he's in the right direction. I do think that he's headed towards feeling better. Thank God, because I was panicking when the first round that usually works didn't work at all. And I was like, I know that asthma can get worse as the cat gets older, and I know that it can get really serious really fast. But Chicory is my baby. Like, he is my world. I love that cat. He is a very special cat. And I know everybody says their cat's special, but Chicory is something different. And I have a really unique connection with him. And I will gladly sacrifice myself to get brutally dragged by every person in this community to be able to provide him with the health care that he needs. It's no skin off my back. I would gladly do that. But I don't understand why people have to do that in the first place. Nobody's forcing anybody to donate. Nobody's I think I make it really clear that if you don't have it, I don't want you to give it to me. I'd rather you spend it on something that you need, or a loved one, or yourself. I always say that. And I felt like I had to come on here and explain that because there's just idiots that because their cat or their neighbor's sister's brother's like aunt twice removed's cat had what they believe is a similar situation. They always have to add in their 2 cents. I hate that. I see that all the time. I call it like, doctor by proxy or like lawyer by proxy. Suddenly they're an expert because somebody they've met somewhere in their life does that for a living. I think I get a kick out of it, but it not in a good way either. It doesn't make me chuckle. It makes me irritated. But that's fine. You know, I was thinking a lot today and I was having a borderline panic attack because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can't. Like, I can't. Um, and I haven't said, like, I've never been in a situation like this. Like, I've never looked at my bank account and thought to myself, I can't provide something that I absolutely needed. When push comes to shove, I'm usually able to figure out how to get up the funds to make it happen. But I think the world isn't just such a horrible place that we're all feeling that pressure. But for the first time, I can't make it happen. I just can't. I can't make money appear out of thin air. And I know that what's in my bank account isn't enough to be able to pay for the vet appointment and, groceries and everything else. So that's just what it is. And for the people that choose to donate, I appreciate it more than you know. Like I said, anything that you need provided, I would be more than happy to. And I'll even bring you guys to the vet. And you can listen to Chicory wail and howl in his carrier. But it's funny because he sleeps in the carrier now. Because I left it upstairs because every time I bring it up, the other cat gets really upset. And because I knew I had to bring him back, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it upstairs and see if Paolo will, like, I don't know, get used to it and not freak out. And every day I go in, I'm looking for Chicory, and there he is in the carrier, curled up. He seems to like it. He's a friendly cat. He likes to go places. Paolo has had to move around so much that I'm pretty sure he associates the carrier with me moving again. So I promised him, though, like, he's not going to have to do that again, as far as, if I can help it anyway. Oh shit, guys, hold on. Oh fuck. Oh, okay, where is this? Is this the right charger? Yes. Hold on, guys, sorry. Oh my god. Sorry about all the crinkly paper. I'm just trying to wrap the few gifts I managed to get from my family. Just small stuff. Some of it I made, so like jewelry and stuff. So, it was more like crafts, but I've been trying to make it fancy. Like I put everything in bags, and then I'll put like tissue paper on top. And I know that my family would much rather my parents anyway, the adults in my family would much rather get something that I make than something I bought. Especially, my mom actually got mad at me. I don't remember if it was this year or the year before, because I got my dad a gift, and according to her, I couldn't afford it. And I guess she's kind of right, but I did have a coupon. Little did she know. So, boom. But yeah, this is the first year that I've ever been in a place like this, and it's scary. I graduate with my master's degree in a few months, and after that, the first thing I'm doing is getting a good paying job. The reason I haven't done that yet is because, first of all, I don't want to get locked into a pay rate that doesn't reflect my master's degree, and second of all, school plus the freelance work that I'm doing. I'm also going through physical therapy and aqua therapy it was for my neck, and now I'm doing it for my lower back to try and not have to have surgery again. So I've just been really busy, and I just can't juggle school full time with a full time job and taking care of my family. I can't do it. And I admire people that can. That's pretty impressive, actually. That's a true superhero right there. and I just that's not me as much as I'd like it to be. So hopefully, in a couple months I can catch up and get back on my feet and not have to worry as much, or bother you guys. But I just wanted people to know that just a little bit more information about Chicory and his situation and my situation, and um, answering some of the questions that I've seen about it that weren't posed particularly nicely. But I expected it, because you can't post anything about a fundraiser without somebody getting all up in arms about it, which is, I'm sorry, it's kind of weird. I don't know why. I don't know. Like, there's some funds that I'm just like, but I'm not going to say anything about it because what do I know? What do I know? I might be thinking it, but I don't generally say it. Or else it's for something ridiculous or excessive, in which case that I will address. So, I don't know. It's probably the last I'm going to address it. So if people want to donate, it's in my other community post. If you're not able to, though, it's no big deal. I figured, what's a community for if you can't come to them with something like that? And I know that people don't like to believe it. I know that people can't fathom it. But Lycan actually posted something that goes to the point that I just wanted to make, is that people judge on how they're treated. Why would I want to stick around somewhere where I'm not treated well or welcome? Why would I want to do that? Of course I'm going to go where I'm treated well and where I'm a valued part of the community and where I can have good conversations with people that, I like. I liked a lot of people over there as well. Don't get me wrong. It has nothing to do with them. My feelings about that has nothing to do with them. And the only thing that's changed about me is who I support. And it usually comes down to liking. Um, and my issues with liking stemmed a long, long way before, and it was really, a lot of it was a misunderstanding. Some of it was, I didn't really care for the stuff that he was or had said, but I'm actually going to do a video, maybe tomorrow, where I have a bunch of clips that I want to share with you guys, and I want you guys to notice that liking the stuff that's brought up, and he says stuff that I don't like all the time. I can't agree with somebody all the time. And when I really went to go listen, and I really started enjoying his content. I think he's creative. I think he's smart. I think he's talented. And I think that he has a really great community going over there. And when push comes to shove, he's actually a nice person. He's very kind and he's generous. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell people. And I'm kind of feel silly for judging somebody based on, I actually, though, that I don't want to say that because I did have my own experience that, or reasons, but regardless, it's like, people are all up in arms when the people they sit with have done terrible stuff too. So it's like, pick your poison. And none of us are perfect. What matters to me is that you learn from your mistakes. Um, at first I got the impression that, Lycan really just didn't care about anything and he was just going to do what he does or whatever. But he does have a big heart. And I've seen that firsthand. I've seen him stop everything and reach out to a community member who's struggling. I've watched him, just little things like that, support the underdog. And most importantly to me was welcome me into his community. And some of the nastiest stuff that I've said about anybody on here was about him. Um, yeah. And so if there was anybody on this platform that, I wouldn't blame if they, booted me and never wanted to see me in their chat again, aside from Dorothy, is him. And yeah, so when I was welcomed by the people in his community, the people who knew where, that I was over at Granny's, like, it's not like they didn't know that about me. A lot of them actually stopped watching me when I went over to Granny's, I did receive a few emails at that point, and I know Jess is like, well, I don't receive emails like that. You're not that important. Well, I'm sorry you don't receive hate emails, but I mean, I did. It was three of them, two or three, and it was just people that were apparently upset. But I also got that the other way around too when I left Natasha and whatever. So I think you're gonna get that wherever you go. So and I'm grateful to them. I'm grateful for that a lot of people have been forgiving. I've said nasty things in chats about people who I don't know. And like I said, I've really been trying to take an inventory of how I've been on YouTube and going into the new year, how I want to be. And I think that there's a way to do drama and have fun with it. Not have fun with it, but go back and forth without crossing boundaries. I don't cross those boundaries. So I'm going to continue to talk about what I talk about. I'm going to do commentary. But if you're looking for somebody to get up and yell and scream and just drag people in a way that's trashy, I'm not going to do that. Now, I will say I think there's definitely a place for that. There's certainly a market for that. And I don't think everybody who does it is like really that it is, terrible. But there are some that I'm like, really? But, for me, it's just about personal growth and whatever. But we're still going to have fun. And I was listening to a few of the lives that went on last night. And oh my, the lack of self-awareness is it's stunning. I've never experienced it in my entire life. A person literally calling people out for the stuff that she does. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I found some really great examples of it. So we will be talking about that. I'll probably go live tomorrow. I don't think I have anything that would conflict. Oh, that's not. Well, I could probably do it later on. But I was really mad at myself because I didn't play a particular video last time, and I want to play it now because it's cute. And some of you know that my dogs love to bark in the background, so I want to get quiet ears for my dogs so badly. And I thought this was adorable, so I wanted to share it with you guys, and it made my day and it made me laugh. So maybe it'll do the same for you.
You want to take those off? Were you barking and so we put them on to make you quiet?
Listen, do you want mommy to get the quiet ears? I'm gonna get them right now. You be quiet boy or you put the ears on.
That made my day. It made me laugh so hard because I'm like, yeah, I'll be like, Molly, do you want mama to get the quiet ears? So, yeah. Is there anything else I wanted to show you? Probably not. No, because I didn't upload the other stuff. Because I was going to do that on a live, so I didn't actually upload any of the clips that I needed to. Oh well. I also posted some of my mixed media collages because I'm a bee of many talents, and I guess maybe a couple months down the line there might be people that are like, "Well, I never liked her art. I only said it then because I was supporting Lycan, but now that I've not supporting Lycan, then Bee's art sucks now." Or whatever, whoever happens to be the creator then. But I base my opinions on how I'm treated, on what I observe them doing at their core. Because like I said, guys, I might have had preconceived notions, and I know other people have very strong feelings about this, but there were two people that commented with helping about administering Chicory's medicine, and I think that speaks to who they are at their core. A person who is just all bad and all toxic would not have done that. So it was eye-opening. So yeah, I always say that there are people that do things that I don't agree with, but at their core, they're good people. And whether it's a difference of motivation, whether they're being driven by what they believe that isn't congruent with what I believe, and that's kind of, regardless of the reason, somebody who would, put their differences aside with me and comment on one of my posts, go out of their way to comment on my post to help me. I think that says quite a bit about them in a good way. So, I base my opinions on my experiences and also what I observe them doing. Like, I understand that there can be, there's some bad stuff that happens. But at the same time, you have to kind of weigh it out. And in my opinion, dragging somebody and treating them day after day, making fun of them, dragging their looks, posting a picture up on the screen and having 2 hours of somebody of the people critiquing them, making fun of their bodies, a lot of, all of that and so on and so forth. I think that, in my opinion, equates to bullying. And I think that would honestly get to somebody's mental health a lot more than somebody, just saying to unalive yourself. But I don't like either, I want to make that clear. But what I'm trying to say, though, is that a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's so terrible. But the other side of the coin is okay with them. It's just but when really it's the same thing, except, one of them is like this slow process of getting under somebody's skin and pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. I'm not saying either of that is right. I don't like that happened, but I also, as a human being, can understand how one could get pushed to that point, and I would be lying if I said I hadn't said similar things in my life at times. I use it sometimes as a figure of speech in like a joking way, and I'm glad I don't do that here because that might not be taken very well. But mostly it's about myself. But yeah, so I judge people on how I'm treated and all of those things. And I'm not going to write somebody off completely. And at this point, I want to get to know people. I just don't understand how people can only see what's on their side. They're outraged about somebody who does the same damn thing. Maybe not like the actions aren't the same, but the impact it has on people is equal, if that makes sense. So yeah, people can be like, well, I don't do that. Well, I don't do that, but you do this. You don't do X, but you do Y and Z. And both of them have the same impact on somebody's mental health or whatever. Does that make sense to people? I hope so. So really, I just don't see it as being anything. I don't really dig that deep into it. I mean, you're going to support who you're going to support, but if somebody changes their mind, especially based on how they're treated, then I don't see how that's some sort of like huge thing. So, it kind of takes away from the value of it when the people you support do you do the same stuff in terms of impact to people negatively. And I'm sorry, like, that's just how I feel. This is how I feel. And I don't know, guys. I just wanted to come on and talk about that a little bit because it was important to me to maybe explain further to anybody who's curious about it, but also because I wanted to point out that, like, people are already having a field day with, I'm like, who has the time? Like, why do you care? I always show receipts. Always. Nobody can say I don't show receipts for, like, my fundraisers. You know what I'm saying? And I've only had one. The other one doesn't count. Everything got refunded. I had to pay for that myself. And I only got part of the dental work done. Thankfully, last time he was at the vet, though, I asked about it because I'm like, hey, like, I'm not sure if I can swing that financially. Could I work something out with you guys? And I didn't really get much of an answer back for that. I think that if it was something serious, they'd let me figure something out like that. But at this point, I'm looking at it and I'm like, or else some miracle happens. Like I'm not gonna, it's not like I can just can't pay it this month. I don't know how I'm gonna pay it next month or the one after that, until something changes in my life financially. So there's that. But I think that it's not like just a $250, $300 vet bill. This is like almost $1,000. So my point is, they looked at his teeth because I was asking about it, and the vet was like, you know what, the reason we wanted to do the rest of it because we were concerned about an ulcer that was in his mouth, but it looked like it's gone, so there's no need for dental work. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was like, I don't, I already feel like a terrible kitty mom because I hadn't gotten the rest of it done. But thankfully, apparently it wasn't necessary, so that's great. At least that's one thing. But this wasn't supposed to be like a long video or anything like that. And I kind of just wanted to come on and say that. But like I said, I'm putting together a good show because I have some good points that I want to make that I was all fired up about today, but I have my schoolwork due on Sunday nights, so I could not, go live and say the things I wanted to. So hopefully I can have the same energy tomorrow because, guys, I was like ranting. Like I was like fuming. And I can't tell you how many times I rolled my eyes. I can't tell you how many times I was like, really? Or like, ugh, like yikes. And I think I have some good points to make. Some of the stuff that I've like kind of put together logically and ways that I've kind of found to explain things, I think are pretty good. So hopefully people can stay tuned for that. And we can talk about whatever and I can answer any questions anybody has. I'm still going through the process of finding everything that's gone on so I can address everything. I'm still working on that, but like I said, schoolwork has been what I've been doing. It's nice to see though that people are back with those stupid emails, trying to get in my head, trying to make me feel like people don't like me. I'm glad to see that you're back. I can't say I missed you. Except this time you're telling it to me about everybody else. Like now it's not that Granny doesn't like me, which happened to be true. So I mean, I don't know, but pretty okay at reading the room and pretty sure that this is just to get under my skin. But apparently, a lot of creators on this side didn't think things about me that I had no idea. And spoiler alert, they're lies. You're like, do you think we haven't talked about that? Do you think that? No, it's so stupid. And it's because I was vulnerable in a few of my lives and mentioned that I have, some issues stemming from my adoption about fitting in and stuff like that. Not just fitting in, but finding a place where I'm welcome. I don't just try to fit in places just to fit in. Yet, usually it's for connection and where it's people that I very much like. And I was vulnerable about that. And in one instance of it, it was held against me and made fun of. And I didn't find that out till later. And in the other instances, it was just, it was just me trying to be vulnerable with people and explain, maybe why I react a certain way to certain things and, stuff like that, and be open with my story. I'm going to leave some of the other points for tomorrow. I have a lot to talk about. I have a lot to point out. I know that my opinions might not be the popular opinions, but here's the deal, guys. You can disagree with me and have a different opinion and still be friends with me. Like, you might have a completely different feel on what I talked about with the saying the unaliving. Maybe you don't think that that's the same equation. Maybe you don't think they hold the same weight, and that's okay. I'm not going to be like, you're wrong because you feel a different way. It's not like it's a scientific fact or like a mathematical equation. That's just my opinion. So it doesn't make you wrong or right or wrong to have a different opinion. It's just that, a different opinion. So I'm able to respect that. And I know that's one thing that I do know that there are some people that disagree with me on, and that's fine. But that's just how I feel about it. I'm not saying either way is right, but you have to understand that first of all, you have to look at how far someone's been pushed, but also you got to look at the damage that each action does. And when you look at it, it's like, how is one that much worse than the other? Doesn't make sense. I always have to look at it that way. But I'm already on here longer than I wanted to, and I gotta eat something and kind of decompress and get ready for bed and have a busy day tomorrow. But hopefully I will be able to come on here and we can spend some time together and hang out and watch fun videos and talk some shit and I don't know, just discuss whatever, discuss the community goings on. And I know that there's a few people I mentioned that I was going to email. Like, you guys got to be patient with me. It's been a week and I've just gotten very distracted. Like, I'm about to email somebody and something gets my attention and then I never go back. That's how you should see my drafts list. Like, it's pretty insane. So yeah, it's not like I'm ignoring anybody. And I'm not sure if PayPal gives you a way to thank people personally. And I don't always know if people want you to use their name. I don't use my full name on there. I mean, it might look like it to you, but I assure you that's not my full name. It's much longer. But I don't really care. I'm comfortable having that there. I didn't realize it for my last one, and someone's like, "You do realize your name's on there," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I guess it is," but it's not my full name, full last name anyway. So, yeah. So I don't know if there's a way that I can thank people personally on there, but I did want to, of course, extend my deepest thanks to the people that have donated. It means everything to me, and I didn't want to do this at all because, again, what makes my need greater than somebody else's? And I also am not entitled to anybody's money, and nobody owes me a thing. But I really appreciate the kindness more than you know. Chicory appreciates it. We all appreciate it. And if I can make a special video with Chicory just for you guys, I will, because I have some ideas, and I think that Chicory would love to make a very personalized Meowie Christmas video for you. I think that I have some ideas that would be cute. So I wanted to extend my thanks, and I don't even know what to say, honestly. It's not a comfortable situation for me to come on here and do that, but I'm just so grateful. That's the only word for it. I appreciate it very much. I don't know, like, a lot of the time you post one of these and, or you think about posting one anyway, and you're like, well, do I want to be that person? Like, do I want to post this and take away from, like, the billion other funds that are going around? Because, again, what makes my need better? You know what I mean? This is what goes through my head, and I debate it with myself all day long. And a lot of the time I never come up with, like, a conclusion. But like I said, in this instance, this is the first time that I've ever not been able to swing it in any way, shape, or form. There's no way around it. I can't. I don't even think I have enough to cover it, the appointment itself, let alone the appointment plus being able to make it through the rest of the month. So it's a tough spot to be in. It's a tough spot to admit to. It's a tough spot to. It's embarrassing. I've always just very much wanted to provide for myself and my family. the best way I can without relying on other people. That's usually like my goal. Like, I like to be self-sufficient. I don't want to have to rely on, and it's tough to have to do that. And I just appreciate you all very, very much. Hopefully this video doesn't take too long to upload. I went on some tangents here, so bear with me. I didn't expect it. I'm not trying for this video to be like super engaging and like fun and interesting. I'm aware that it's probably quite boring, this particular one, but that wasn't the point. The point was to come on and like address some of the questions and statements that I have seen people speculate. Whatever, I wanted to address some of those, and I just wanted to say thank you. I never go into these expecting people to donate, and I really appreciate the people who did. Like, it means a ton to me. Like, you have, I can't even say it enough. Like, you have no idea. And I promise to pay it forward when I can. I'm a really firm believer of karma. As much as sometimes it's disappointed me lately, I always try to put the good in that I can. Not just in hopes that it comes back to me someday, although that's part of it, but also because, it costs you nothing to be kind to somebody else. And, helping other people doesn't always come in a monetary way. Sometimes just acknowledging somebody or telling them that you love their nails or you like their shirt, or stuff that I normally wouldn't say, because not that because I'm thinking it, but my social anxiety doesn't like let me. I told a woman the other day that I loved her nails, and I did. It was really fun color. I really liked them, but you're normally I don't talk to strangers like that. But it costs you nothing to make people smile. And, with that, like, if I can help somebody financially, I will. I just can't do it this year. I just can't. But I do that because, as human beings, all we can do is make the world a better place. And it doesn't, even if it's helping one person, even if it's just $1, it's the point that you cared and you took the time to stop and reach out to somebody else in whatever way they need, like texting somebody that that's upset, going out of your way to reach out to them when they're having a hard time. Maybe it's somebody that you don't even know that well, surprising them with a text, or like the people who reached out about Chicory's medicine administration, like something like that. Like, I was surprised. But you made my day better, and the kitty burrito really works, and every day it's getting easier. So I can't thank them enough. They impacted me in a really positive way. So even if it's people that don't particularly like you, I always just try to put good out. I feel like in my past, I've put a lot of bad out into the world. Before I really started working on myself about 5 years ago, and really getting to the bottom of, this cycle that I had of, stuff going on in my life, and put a stop to it once and for all. And I've done that, and I'm, very proud of it. But since then, I feel like I have a lot of karma to make up for. And I do whatever I can, little things here and there, whether it's holding the door for, a mom with a baby carriage and a toddler trying to go, stupid things like that. But I think all of it counts. I think we're all really, like, at least where I live, I know there's still like, Southern hospitality. And I know over in California, when I've been there, people are a lot more friendly. But where I live, it's very easy. People don't look at each other in the eye. Like, they have their, they're not looking out to see if there's somebody that needs that door held for them. Everybody's busy. Everybody is caught up in their own head. Everybody is like, it's busy. And people don't take the time to do stuff like that. And I don't know. That's why I do it. I know that sounds sappy and stupid, but it's just kind of what I do. Not because I'm a better person than anybody else either. I don't want people to think I'm up on like some moral high horse, because that's not it. Like I said, I feel like I owe the world good. And it also makes me feel good to be able to help. I like helping other people. There's a really it's a good feeling that you get knowing that you help somebody, knowing that, it's 100 degrees out and there's a gentleman panhandling and you were able to go get them a water and a sandwich. There's a lot of gratitude there. Or giving your gloves to a homeless person because you have more at home. That's what I did that recently because they need it more than I do in that moment. But I'm not going to go on about my spiel here, because I could go on and on about how I feel about it. And we've had actually a conversation on here in a chat about the like people experiencing homelessness and helping them. And I know there's people in this community that do a lot of outreach with that, and those people, I commend you. Like, that's great. There's a lot of animals in need too. So I think that counts as well about putting good out. But yeah, I'm going to hop off of here. I'm going to go eat. Hopefully this video finds you well, and I will see you guys very, very soon.